Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We take complex sources, break them down, and give you the knowledge you need, straight up.
That's right. And today, we're really focusing in specifically on the UK business scene and, well, the technology everyone's talking about, AI, artificial intelligence.
We're aiming to cut through the noise today. Our mission is very practical. Get past the headlines, the big promises, and look at the reality of AI adoption for UK organizations, especially for SMEs.
Yeah, we need solid answers based on the data we've looked at. Really three core questions.
Okay, first, the reality check. There seems to be this significant gap, doesn't there, between the money pouring in, the hype, and what we're actually seeing in terms of performance, and, crucially, trust.
That trust piece is huge. Second, we need to look closely at how key UK professional services are changing. Think finance, legal, customer support. We got specific examples showing where real value is being delivered now.
Right, and finally,
pulling out the strategic lessons. For leaders, for boards, what makes these AI projects work? And just as importantly, why do they often fail? We've actually got some pretty compelling data linking board expertise to revenue.
Okay, so it's about giving you, our listener, a kind of strategic playbook for navigating the UK's own unique AI landscape.
Exactly. Let's dive in.
So let's kick off with this kind of contradiction that really seems to define the UK market right now. We're calling it the AI trust paradox. Because on one side, you've got consumer adoption just shooting up.
It really is, especially, and this might surprise some people, in personal finance.
Right. Personal finance is the #1 area.
Yeah, according to Lloyd's Bank data, an incredible 28.8 million UK adults used AI for their money in the last year. That's more than half the adult population. It's huge.
And it's not just for basic stuff, is it? People are using it for quite involved tasks.
Definitely not trivial. The sources show they're using it for budgeting, sure, but also setting savings goals, that's 53% of users. And even for financial education, that's 51%. Things like, getting their heads around remortgaging terms or working out compound interest, using LLMs for that.
And are they seeing actual benefits? Is it making a difference?
It seems so. Tangible benefits. Users are reporting saving, on average, $399 a year. That's pretty significant, thanks to the insights AI gives them.
Okay, so people are using it, they're saving money, feeling maybe a bit more empowered about their finances. That's the adoption surge part.
That's the surge. But then you hit the trust cliff, and it's a steep one.
Ah, the paradox. Despite all this usage.
Exactly. Despite the usage, there's this deep-seated lack of trust. It creates this massive vulnerability for businesses deploying AI.
How bad is it? What are the numbers?
83%. 83% of UK consumers point to data privacy worries as a key barrier. That's huge. 80% worry about getting bad info outdated or just plain wrong information. Reliability concerns.
So we like the tool, we like saving money, but we're really nervous about where our data is going and whether the answers are right.
Precisely. And KPMG's research kind of crystallizes this. They found 57% of people in the UK accept or approve of AI generally. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But when you ask specifically about trusting AI systems, that number drops sharply, down to just 42%.
Wow, a 15-point gap between just accepting it's there and actually trusting it.
That's the challenge right there. That gap is the governance headache for every UK CIO. It's the difference between passive acceptance and active reliance.
And this nervousness, it's not just sitting there. People want action.
They absolutely do. This is a huge signal for likely policy changes. A massive 80% of UK respondents are demanding stronger regulations for responsible AI use.
80% demanding regulation. That's not just a small group.
No, it's a clear mandate. It tells you where things are probably headed regulation-wise soon.
So if you're a UK business using customer-facing AI and 80% of your potential customers want stricter rules, that feels pretty exposed.
Extremely exposed. Think about it. If your AI makes a mistake, gives bad advice, or worse, if there's a data breach, the backlash could be severe because the public is already primed for distrust. They're already demanding higher standards.
So what kind of regulations are we likely talking about? What should businesses be thinking about now?
Well, you'd expect things focused on transparency, accountability, maybe sector-specific rules, especially in sensitive areas like finance or health. Things like proving your AI model behaves predictably, fairly, model certification.
And maybe telling people when they're interacting with an AI.
Almost certainly. Some kind of AI system disclosure. Basically, if you're using AI with customers, that 80% figure means your reputation is on the line. You need to get ahead of this.
So it flips the script a bit. It's not just about getting the tech adopted anymore.
Not at all. The competitive edge now comes from proving you've got strong governance, showing you're transparent, auditable. Businesses need to build those frameworks now, not just to cover risk, but because the market is saying loud and clear, trust needs to be earned.
Okay, so that's the trust issue. Let's pivot now to performance. Actual capability. We hear so much hype, don't we? AI replacing jobs wholesale, especially complex professional roles.
Constantly. But there's some really important data that offers a much-needed base of reality. The Remote Labor Index benchmark.
This was the Scale AI and Center for AI Safety study.
That's the one. And it's crucial because they tested the top AI agents, GPT-4, Claude 3, Gemini-based ones, on real complex freelance jobs. Not just answering questions, but doing things like graphic design, video editing, coding, complex admin.
Stuff that requires skill and judgment.
Yeah.
And the results.
The results were, frankly, a massive reality check for that replacement narrative. Out of a potential $143,991 in earnings across all these complex tasks.
Yeah.
The very best AI agent, after extensive testing, completed less than 3% of the work. It earned just $810.
Less than $2,000 out of nearly $150,000.
Exactly. It's pocket money, basically. Nowhere near professional level performance on these complex multi-step tasks.
So why did they fail so badly? What were the specific problems the AI ran into?
It consistently came down to a few key limitations in how these models currently work. First, tool integration. Think about designing a logo. You need design software, maybe a tool to mock it up on a website.
Right. Multiple steps, different software.
Precisely. And current LLMs really struggle to manage and coordinate those different tools effectively. Calling APIs, passing information between programs, it's clunky for them.
Okay. What else?
The second big one is memory. Or the lack of it, really. A lack of long-term memory across sessions.
The context window issue we hear about.
Yeah. These models have a limited memory buffer. If a project takes days or weeks, the AI loses track. It can't just pick up where it left off with all the necessary context and history intact like a human can. It struggles with sustained multi-day effort.
And the third limitation?
Handling truly complex multi-step workflows. They might do the first step okay, maybe the second. But then they tend to lose the plot. They deviate, forget the overall goal, or sometimes even hallucinate that they've completed a step they haven't actually done.
Right. So putting this all together, what's the clear message for, say, an SME owner in the UK thinking about AI in their workforce?
The message is, don't believe the hype about immediate widespread job replacement for roles needing complex judgment, creativity, or juggling multiple tasks. The tech just isn't there yet.
If it can't earn minimum wage doing complex freelance design,
it's definitely not ready to replace your project manager who's coordinating sales, marketing, and suppliers. Not wholesale, anyway.
So the focus needs to be different.
Completely different. It has to be augmentation. Using AI to assist humans. Let it handle the well-defined repetitive bits, pulling data, summarizing documents, drafting initial emails. Free up your people for the complex stuff.
Right, coordination, the judgment calls, the things that need that longer-term view.
Exactly. This buys businesses time. Time to upskill staff. Time to redesign roles around these more complex human strengths, rather than rushing into replacing people with tech that fundamentally isn't ready for prime time in those complex roles.
But augmentation isn't free, is it? If you're not saving costs through replacement, you're potentially adding costs through training and new systems. Is it just swapping one problem for another?
That's a really sharp point. Augmentation definitely requires investment in training people to use the tools and changing how work gets done, but it's a strategic choice. It prioritizes continuity and potentially higher value work from your existing team rather than gambling on drastic cost cutting with immature tech. The data suggests rushing to replace complex roles now is likely to fail and be costly. Augmentation lets you get productivity gains today while managing that risk. Hashtag tag 1.3, the search reliability trade-off.
Okay, we've got the performance limits for complex tasks. Now let's talk reliability, specifically with AI search. Things like Google's AI overviews or using chatbots for research. This introduces a different kind of risk, doesn't it?
It really does. A subtle but really important governance risk, because AI search works fundamentally differently to traditional Google search.
How so? What's the key difference?
Traditional search relies heavily on things like website authority, established relevance, how many people link to a page. This tends to make the results quite stable over time. AI search, though, casts a much wider net for sources.
Wider net, meaning it pulls from less obvious places.
Exactly. Research shows over half, 53% of the sources Google AI overview sites don't even appear in the top 10 traditional links for the same query. 40% aren't even in the top 100. It's digging deeper, pulling from the long tail.
Okay, so potentially more diverse information. That sounds good, right? What's the catch?
The catch is stability, or rather, the lack of it. Volatility.
What do you mean?
Researchers ran the exact same complex queries 2 months apart. The traditional search results, pretty much the same, very stable. The AI-generated summary answers, they changed a lot, sometimes contradicting the previous answer or shifting the focus entirely.
Wow. Okay, that's actually quite concerning for a business user.
It's critical. Think about it. If you make an important business decision today, maybe about market strategy or understanding a specific compliance rule or checking a supplier's background based on an AI search answer.
You might ask the same question next week and get a different answer.
Precisely. There's no guarantee of consistency. That answer you relied on could be completely different next month, let alone next quarter.
So what's the practical takeaway for an SME here? Don't use AI search for important stuff.
It means you absolutely must have verification protocols in place. For anything business critical where you need consistency, where you need to be able to check the source, the legal compliance, tax rules, internal procedures relying solely on an AI summary is risky.
You need that human check. Go back to the original sources.
You have to. You need human verification, you need source tracing. The speed of getting that synthesized answer is great, but it's potentially useless or even dangerous if the answer itself is unstable and you can't rely on it being the same tomorrow.
It kind of undermines the idea of a single source of truth if that source keeps changing.
It fundamentally does. The governance challenge for businesses is deciding when is speed worth the potential instability, and when do consistency and verifiable authority have to win out.
And for most important decisions.
For most consequential business decisions, stability has to be paramount. You need answers you can rely on over time.
All right, let's move on then. We've looked at the gaps, the risks. Let's talk about where AI is delivering measurable, repeatable value in the UK right now. Our second theme, professional services.
Yes, this is where we see some of the most advanced and practical applications. And financial services, particularly in the UK, are really setting the pace.
Leading the charge.
Definitely. UK banks are way ahead in Europe. 68% are already implementing AI, and it's driven by serious potential gains. The Bank of England reckons AI could boost productivity in the sector by up to 30% over 15 years. So they see it as essential, not optional.
Okay, and within finance, the advisory space seems to have this interesting model for how humans and AI can work together, the head, heart, and hands model.
That's right. It's a really useful framework that we're seeing pop up elsewhere, too. It basically allocates tasks based on strengths. The AI takes the head work.
The rational calculation stuff.
Exactly. The complex financial modeling, running projections, scenario analysis. AI, like Anthropic's Claude, integrated with Excel and real-time market data, can do that heavy lifting much faster and more accurately than a human.
So the AI does the number crunching. What's left for the human advisor?
They get to focus on the heart and hands, building the relationship, the trust, emotional intelligence, and crucially, what some call courageous empathy.
Courageous empathy. What does that mean? It's not just being nice.
No, it's more than that. It's the uniquely human skill of being able to gently challenge a client to deliver maybe difficult truths about their spending or their risk appetite. Not just empathy bloating, telling them what they want to hear, but providing that constructive challenge they need to make good decisions.
That makes sense. Providing psychological safety, but also pushing them a bit.
Exactly. And this whole model is really necessary because of the UK's strict rules, particularly the consumer duty.
Ah, yes, the FCA's consumer duty. Remind us why that's relevant here.
While consumer duty demands huge amounts of documentation, advisors have to prove their advice was suitable, justifiable. It's a massive compliance burden.
And AI helps with that.
Massively. Tools like SoFi can take recordings of client meetings and automatically generate structured, FCA-aligned compliance notes in minutes. It handles the paperwork.
FCA being the Financial Conduct Authority, the main UK regulator, so getting that alignment right is crucial.
Absolutely critical, because the FCA is focused on good consumer outcomes. Automating the documentation doesn't just save time, it standardizes it, reduces the risk of human error in those compliance records. That's a huge regulatory win.
And the benefit for the advisor is?
Less time typing, more time actually listening, understanding the client, building that relationship, better quality engagement ultimately.
Okay, so that's advisory. What about core banking, Fraud seems like a big area.
Huge. And Starling Bank in the UK is a really interesting example here. Their AI scam intelligence tool.
What does it do differently?
It's preventative. It uses Google's Gemini AI not just to look at transactions, but to analyze the stuff before a payment happens. It looks at online marketplace listings, the product photos, the messages between buyer and seller.
Trying to spot the scam before the money moves?
Exactly. Looking for those contextual red flags. And the results in testing were pretty dramatic.
How dramatic?
A 300% increase in payment cancellations flagged by customers themselves during the trial. 300%. That's real money saved, real customers protected. It shows AI delivering immediate, tangible value in protecting people.
That's impressive. Empowering the customer. What about on the business-to-business side? B2B payments and finance?
We're seeing progress there, too, moving towards AI handling more operational tasks. Tools like Balance's MCP Server Model Context Protocol.
MCP, what does that allow?
It essentially lets AI agents talk to existing financial systems, payments, credit, accounts receivable using natural language. It acts like a translator between the AI and the complex banking APIs.
So instead of a finance person logging into 5 different systems,
They can just ask the AI agent, show me all clients in Scotland with invoices over 90 days late and draft a reminder email. The AI uses MCP to talk to the different systems and gets it done.
eliminating all that clicking around, that context switching.
Exactly. The potential efficiency gain for enterprise finance teams there is enormous. It's transformative for those workflows. Hashtag tag 2.2, legal and public sector efficiency.
Okay, let's shift gears to the legal world. Another area where efficiency is key, but mistakes can be catastrophic. We heard AI might now be better than humans at legal research.
Some benchmarks, like the one from Val's AI, do suggest that. They found AI could outperform junior lawyers on accuracy, authoritativeness, clarity, and legal research tasks. But
There's always a but with AI, isn't there? Hallucinations.
the big one, fabricating cases, made-up citations. It's a massive risk, and lawyers have already been disciplined for submitting AI-generated briefs with fake precedents. So human oversight is absolutely non-negotiable.
So how are firms using it safely? LexisNexis has a tool, Protege.
Yes, and it uses what's called multi-model agentic AI. That means it's not just one model, but several working together, able to plan and execute complex tasks like drafting legal documents.
Agentic meaning it can kind of act on its own to achieve a goal.
Sort of, yes. It can reason through steps. And crucially, Protege is grounded in LexisNexis's massive database, 160 billion documents to try and keep it accurate.
But even with that massive database,
They still need humans. The CEO said they needed an army of attorneys to review the AI's output before they could rely on it. They are explicitly building in that human legal judgment layer to catch errors, especially those fabricated citations.
so again, it's augmentation. Powerful assistance, but not replacing the lawyer's final judgment.
Precisely, especially for high-stakes work. But on the other end of the scale, AI could actually help ordinary people.
How so? Democratizing legal knowledge.
Potentially. Tools like NYU's Contract Nerd aim to do that. They can scan things like employment contracts or rental agreements and flag potentially problematic clauses for non-lawyers.
Like unfair non-compete clauses or missing terms.
Exactly. Making complex legal language more understandable and highlighting risks for the average person, that could be really powerful for consumer protection.
Okay, what about the public sector here in the UK? Are government departments using AI effectively?
There are definitely pockets of pragmatic use. The Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, used machine learning for fraud detection and reportedly saved £4.4 million. That's a clear win for the taxpayer.
But scaling these things up is hard.
It often is, yes. The DWP found their ability to expand AI use was limited by their existing fragmented IP systems. You compare that to somewhere like Denmark with really integrated government data. They can run nearly 100 anti-fraud models. It shows that underlying infrastructure, that data plumbing, is a huge, often costly prerequisite for large-scale AI deployment in government.
Right, you need the foundations in place. Are there examples where they're managing to deploy strategically?
Yes, focusing on specific bottlenecks. The Ministry of Justice, MoJ, is rolling out Justice Transcribe to 1,000 probation officers.
What does that do?
It automates the note-taking from conversations with offenders. That's hugely time-consuming and sensitive work, freeing up probation officers' time.
And there was something important about data location with that project.
Very important. This rollout happened alongside a wider government deal with OpenAI, and a key part of that was getting guarantees about UK data sovereignty. Ensuring sensitive public sector data stays within the UK, that was a major hurdle cleared, potentially unlocking more AI use in sensitive areas.
Makes sense. And another example of tackling bottlenecks, planning applications.
Yeah, the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology, DSIT, they've put out an 8.3 million tender for an AI tool specifically to help with planning decisions for householder applications.
The goal being just to speed things up.
Exactly. Cut the processing time down from the typical 8 weeks to maybe 4. Again, it's very targeted. Using AI to make an existing, often frustrating process faster and more efficient, not trying to get AI to make the actual planning policy decisions. Pragmatic use. Hashtag tag tag 2.3. Customer service and the empathy debate.
Okay, let's talk customer service. This feels like an area with a huge amount of hype, chatbots everywhere, but maybe not always living up to it.
Definitely a big gap between intent and reality here. You see stats like 85% of customer service leaders are looking into AI chatbots, mostly chasing cost savings. But only 20% of those projects actually meet expectations fully. There's a massive disconnect.
Why is it so hard to get right?
Often comes down to control or lack of it, and data. These new generative AI chatbots feel much more natural than the old scripted ones, right? They can have proper conversations.
Yeah, much less robotic usually.
But that freedom is also a risk. If the AI isn't properly constrained, it can go off script in unpredictable, sometimes damaging ways.
Like the DPB example.
Yeah.
A delivery company chatbot.
Exactly. A perfect, if slightly worrying example. They had to switch off their AI chatbot because users managed to provoke it into criticizing DPD itself, and eventually it started swearing at the customers.
Oh dear. Not exactly great for the brand.
Not ideal, no. It highlights the reputational risk if you don't have the right guardrails in place. These things need careful tuning and ongoing monitoring.
And this leads into the whole empathy question, doesn't it? Gartner predicts AI will handle 80% of common issues autonomously by 2029. That sounds incredibly efficient, but can AI really provide empathy?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Leaders like Fiona Coleman are asking exactly that. Can AI genuinely empathize? Or does it just simulate it? Does it provide a solution or actual care? And customers might not accept fully automated systems anyway.
You mean there could be pushback?
There already is. We're seeing legislative moves, particularly in the EU and US, towards potentially mandating a right to talk to a human by perhaps 2028.
Right, so if your whole strategy is replace all humans with chatbots,
You might find yourself legally required to bring humans back into the loop anyway, which leads to the final point. Cost savings are not guaranteed.
because the tech itself is expensive.
Not just the tech, but what you need to make it work. Effective customer service AI needs vast amounts of high-quality training data. And crucially, your internal knowledge, your product information, your help guides needs to be impeccably organized and up to date.
If your knowledge base is a mess, the chatbot will be too.
Exactly. Garbage in, garbage out. You could spend a fortune on the AI tech, but if the underlying information isn't right, you won't get the savings. And you might even make customer service worse. It requires significant upfront investment in data and knowledge management.
Okay, let's move into our final section now. Pulling together the strategic lessons from these early days of AI adoption, especially looking at the UK scene and thinking about leadership and governance. Hashtag tag 3.1. Lessons from AI adoption successes and failures.
Right. And there's some really good examples of success coming out of initiatives like Microsoft's Gen AI Accelerator program here in the UK. They show how AI used strategically can deliver value very quickly.
Give us an example.
Take Senisum. They use AI to monitor customer feedback in real time. In one case, they helped a food brand avoid a potentially huge £250,000 product recall.
How?
By flagging up critical issues with packaging that customers were mentioning online, literally within hours, that immediate insight prevented a massive cost and reputational hit. That's AI for risk mitigation, delivering huge ROI.
That's a clear win. What about efficiency gains leading to growth?
Look at AutoGene AI. Their tool helps streamline writing complex bids and proposals. Serco, the big outsourcing firm, integrated it and reported an incredible 85% increase in efficiency in that process.
85% faster.
Yes. And crucially, they also linked it to a 5% rise in global revenue. So that's augmentation directly driving top-line growth, not just cutting costs.
Okay, so those are the successes. But we know things go wrong. What are the common failure modes, especially regarding governance?
Two big ones seem to keep cropping up. The first is what some CTOs called AI tool proliferation, basically tech tourism.
Meaning companies just buy lots of shiny AI tools without a plan.
Pretty much deploying lots of different agents and tools without a clear strategy, without knowing exactly what business problem they're trying to solve or how they'll measure success, buying the AI hammer before finding the nail.
Right. Lack of strategic alignment. What's the second failure mode?
This one is a massive security risk, especially for SMEs. Shadow AI.
Shadow AI. Meaning employees using AI tools the company doesn't know about or hasn't approved.
Exactly. And it's widespread. One study found 62% of organizations just don't have visibility into what AI tools their staff are using. Ricoh, a security firm, found over 1,000 unauthorized app integrations at one big company, and over half were AI-powered.
1,000. What kind of things were people doing?
The really alarming one was an employee connecting ChatGPT directly to the company's Salesforce system.
Whoa! Connecting an external AI directly to their customer database.
Yes. Instantly exposing sensitive customer data, sales pipelines, forecasts, everything, to a third-party AI model outside the company's control. Total bypass of security.
That's terrifying from a data security and compliance perspective.
Right.
If you're an SME and your team is plugging unapproved AI into your CRM or your HR system,
You have a massive vulnerability. Data leakage, privacy breaches, compliance failures, it's an immediate risk that needs addressing with clear policies.
and the policy can't just be don't use these tools, can it?
No, that rarely works. People use them because they're helpful. The better approach is to provide approved, governed, internally managed AI tools that meet employees' needs for productivity. Give them safe options so they don't feel the need to go rogue with external, risky shadow AI. Hashtag tag 3.2. Disentangling AI from economic cycles.
Okay, let's talk jobs for a moment. We see these headlines all the time, right? Big tech firms, Amazon, Salesforce, etc., laying off thousands. And AI often gets mentioned as a reason. Is AI really driving mass redundancies?
Well, there's a healthy dose of skepticism needed here. Academics from places like Yale and Oxford are suggesting that AI is often let's say, a convenient excuse.
An excuse for what?
For maybe masking other factors, like correcting for overhiring during the pandemic boom or just responding to normal economic slowdowns and pressure from investors. Calling it AI-driven restructuring sounds more strategic and forward-looking than we hired too many people and now need to cut costs.
So AI becomes the scapegoat, a positive spin on potentially difficult news.
That seems to be the argument. And some data backs this up. Research by Morgan Frank looked at unemployment right after ChatGPT launched in late 2022.
What did it find?
It found a measurable increase in unemployment risk only in office and administrative support roles. Those tasks like data entry, basic summarization. Crucially, for roles in computing, engineering, maths, there was no discernible impact on unemployment probability.
Interesting. So the impact is very specific, targeting certain tasks first. And the big tech layoffs we saw were likely more about market cycles than AI suddenly replacing engineers.
That seems more likely, yes. It suggests the immediate impact of current AI on highly skilled jobs is perhaps less dramatic than the headlines imply. It's targeting specific tasks first, not necessarily entire jobs yet, especially complex ones.
But regardless of whether AI is the cause or just the excuse, the workforce still needs to adapt, right?
Absolutely. The pressure to adapt is real, and we're seeing clear signals from major firms about how seriously they're taking this.
Like the KPMG decision.
Exactly. KPMG announced that from 2026, using AI tools effectively will actually be part of staff performance reviews.
Wow. So it's not just optional anymore. It's becoming mandatory.
It signals that AI literacy, knowing how to use tools like Microsoft Copilot or whatever is relevant in your field, is shifting from a nice-to-have skill to a core competency, like knowing how to use email or spreadsheets.
You won't just be expected to do your job. You'll be expected to do your job using AI tools to be more effective and efficient.
That's the direction of travel. It's a fundamental shift in expectations for professionals, particularly in services. Hashtag tag 3.3. The board-level AI expertise imperative.
Okay, finally, let's bring this right to the top. The boardroom. Is having AI expertise at the board level actually important for UK companies? Does it make a difference?
The data we looked at suggests it makes a huge difference, and frankly, The UK seems to be lagging a bit here, which could be costing companies.
Lagging how?
Well, only about 32% of UK startups have identifiable AI expertise on their boards. That's compared to 40% of the tech companies in the FTSE 350 index. It suggests AI isn't always seen as a core strategic issue from the start.
Okay, so there's a gap. But does it actually correlate with performance?
This is where it gets really striking. Those FTSE 350 tech firms with strong AI expertise on their boards, their average revenue is £6.8 billion.
Okay, and those without board-level AI expertise?
Their average revenue is $953 million.
Wait, 6.8 billion versus less than 1 billion. That's nearly a 7 times difference.
It's a massive difference. Now, correlation isn't causation, we always have to say that, but it strongly suggests that having that AI knowledge at the highest strategic level is linked to significantly better growth outcomes.
Why would that be? What are those boards doing differently?
You'd assume they're making better informed decisions about where AI fits strategically, better risk assessment of AI projects, smarter resource allocation, where to invest, where not to, ensuring AI initiatives align with the core business goals, and probably being able to pivot faster as the technology itself changes.
They're not just reacting, they're actively steering the ship using AI insights.
That's the idea. And the data also shows a kind of scale-up tipping point. Once companies get bigger, say above 50 million in revenue, half of them have AI board expertise.
Below that threshold.
Only 15%. It implies many companies only bring in that strategic AI thinking after they've already achieved significant growth, instead of using it as a lever to drive that growth earlier on.
Interesting. So getting that expertise in early could be a competitive advantage. And there's government support potentially available too.
Yes, the UK government has committed huge sums, $55 billion, to R&D investment up to 2029-2030. And a lot of that is targeted at areas where AI is crucial, like AI security itself, clean tech, health tech.
And the idea is that public money encourages private investment.
That's the goal. Every £1 of public R&D funding aims to attract £2 in private money. So companies that align their strategy with these national priorities and, crucially, have the board-level expertise to understand and leverage these opportunities are really well-positioned to benefit from these public-private partnerships.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. So for a UK business leader listening now, AI adoption is high among consumers, but trust is worryingly low. Practical value right now is mostly in focus augmentation, helping people do specific tasks better rather than wholesale replacement.
Right. And strategic success seems to really depend on getting the governance right, tackling shadow AI, ensuring transparency, and critically, having genuine AI understanding at the board level, which seems strongly linked to driving revenue growth.
The big hurdle remains that trust gap, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Proving AI can be consistently productive is one thing. Proving it can be reliably trusted, especially when 80% of your market wants tighter rules. That's the next major challenge. It's about accountability, not just capability.
Okay, I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to chew on. We talked about AI search being less stable than traditional search. An answer today might be different next month.
Right, that volatility issue.
So consider this. If you make a significant business decision today, picking a key supplier, setting a policy based on compliance info you found, assessing a market risk using an AI search tool, what happens if that underlying information changes next month? Is your decision still valid?
How do you manage that risk? What governance do you need to put in place right now to handle that level of informational instability? How do you even audit a decision based on an input that is, by its nature, potentially volatile?
Right. Think about that tension. The speed AI offers versus the stability your business needs. How do you balance that in your own work, your own decisions? Something to mull over.
Indeed. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.